Hey folks, watching some Chinese anime. I don't really like this one yet. Anyway, I'm doing a collage of some, first off, a mower I've done is called a Victa 18 Special Standard, 1957-58 model. I use various mowers to build one. You're looking at about 12 months to 2-year period, maybe longer, depending on the parts. And so what I'm about to show you is photograph collage from over 10 years ago. Some of these parts were used in the construction of the latest mower I had done over 10 years ago. I think it's only 10 years ago. Yeah, so, and there's some pictures in there of mowers that are also scrounged, used some parts and sold them as well on eBay. So let's get going. So yep, scrounged these at Kings Langley over 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Again, Victa 18 mower, classified as an antique. The antique mowers I built from scratch. I did not start. I simply tested all the electronics with a multimeter, so I knew that if someone did start it, it would eventually start, depending on their knowledge. I was also at one point a moderator for a website called 3-Tone Carving, was my tag or username. Obviously I am very principled when it comes to people's behaviour, and I live by those principles. So if you're going to compete with me, do so honestly. If you don't, then I'm not going to like it and do what I can to get rid of you away and out of my life, but in an honest way. So what you're seeing is the steps of, basically, by showing you these photos, these are the parts I had chosen from an assessment of other parts, and these were the best ones out of all those parts that I've chosen. Which means any broken parts or worn out parts, I usually never kept them. I usually just threw them out because I didn't want to pass those parts on to someone else. This is a plunger carburetor. I forget the name or the model of this carburetor, but if I remember, I'll put it up sometime on one of the videos. Plunger just means exactly what it says. You can see by that brass cylinder there, that's the plunger that moves up and down by a cable and spring that releases a metal pin, or about the length of a pen basically, in the center of that plunger to the center of that carburetor, so moving it up and down increased or decreased the fuel that went in, which this mower is a 2-stroke, not a 4-stroke, as you'll find that most 4-strokes rarely used a simple carburetor, rarely. And see that filter? That actually belongs to a Power 12 Victa mower from the 90s or 80s. Doesn't belong to this old antique. It's a fuel tap and filter with that plastic hose there. So, and the spark plug. Yes, I forgot what that is too. I did have a lot of books on all this type of stuff, but I sold everything, and a collection of antique mowers I sold as well, or gave them away to friends or associates. I did have an operation manual for this mower, but I was sent one a long time ago, about 10 years ago, but luckily I put it on my, downloaded it to my Dropbox, so I'll add those photos to this collage as well. It's only 125cc motor, single piston, uses a clamp for both exhaust and intake, drill manifold. And that aluminium heatsink cylinder object there is the exhaust. It has one bolt that holds it on with a very thick gasket. And those, as you can see, the paint used is called Hamatone Green, and it is, you have to put at least 2 coats minimum, because the paint reacts with the oxygen in the air and creates a bubbling effect, which can cause bare metal to be shown. That's why you need a minimum of 2 coats. Looks like I've saved the original sticker on that tank, but I doubt very much, because that tank's got dents in it, that I ever used that tank. Some brackets to hold on the axles for the base, which is also aluminium. These are only for one axle, and the spaces to go inside. Now, believe it or not, these are, I think, polyurethane plastic wheels, mower wheels. The rubber can be taken off with hot water, but so you have to dip and soak the whole wheel in hot water, tap hot water that is, not boiling water, and you can take off the rubber and replace them. Spaces and clips to hold them on. These have spaces as well as bushings, which are usually plastic. They go into the center. That one there looks damaged, so obviously I would not have used that. That wheel to the axles, which have a sprocket welded onto them, which means it can be elevated up and down. Those axles are worn, so I either replace those axles, wheel axle only, which is that small bit, it's like 2 inches or so, or I replace the whole thing. 2 pairs of axles for 2 different mowers, but for the same, which means I would have replaced those axles and welded new ones on for the wheels. This is the Victa 18, also known as a toe cutter. And you can see where the exhaust went in there. Phone can't focus because it's a photograph. And that's for a side edger or an edger, grass edger, which was never produced or manufactured. But a cover for that and a clip for that was manufactured. Handlebars and brackets holding it on. Note there's no holes in the middle of the handlebar there, because they're not supposed to have one. You can see some handlebar brackets there, or fastening brackets to hold the handlebars on. And the Victa 18 symbol there, which is also painted red. Underneath this one, the base has been cleaned and checked and painted. I either sold this mower or gave it away. This part here goes on the back of the mower. Those 4 holes means it also attaches to the holes of the mower for the engine bolts. This is actually covers the exhaust section as like a dampener silencer, and it's supposed to be filled with a fire resistant cotton, which obviously I don't have there because they don't make them anymore, nor can you buy them. You'd have to make it. This one is undamaged. They usually crack right. Don't know if you can see that light from my phone, but just there where the opening is for the exhaust to come out, they usually crack around that area. This one's not, that's why it's painted. Okay, that's the end of those particular paper collage. I have more photos online on my computer for the main Victa 18 that I built, which is a lighter colour in green hematane, or a similar rust prevention paint, because that's what they use. They didn't primer these. I use car paint. They use rust preventative paint, no undercoat.